Dude, you're great in this movie.
Thank you very much.
You are very welcome. How do you get into this role? I mean, it seemed like you transformed yourself, clearly. How did you prepare and get into this role for Ferrari?
A lot of it winds up being kind of by osmosis. You know, we shot it all in Modena, and we're there a month before it started, and the prosthetics. And Michael he's very much into internal life. So for him, the key to the character was someone who, the mentality of a racer, someone who is, you know, myopic focus for a prolonged amount of time. So we raced a lot of cars in California or here in Modena. And, you know, when we were shooting with just the chassis of the cars that we used in the movie that didn't have shells on them yet.
So that's the cars that we see in the film, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of them are the real deal, which were, you know, shipped with, you know, security guards.
I was about to say,
yeah.
Did you get behind the wheel of one of those?
No. There's like a guy that stands behind cones and it's just like, you know, keep moving. Yeah. But Michael, he's like that. He'll ship a car he shipped one of the Maseratis, and, you know, strapped 9 microphones to it and took it through a tunnel because he just for the sound. It's never in the movie, but the sound of it is not going to be just for the sound, because you can't duplicate it. So he's a relentless in his kind of quest for it being authentic. And then just by being there in the place, it just kind of naturally happens.
Right.
It's kind of like going to a different country, adjusting to a time zone of a different country. You go to London and you're all messed up for a couple days, and then just naturally you start adjusting to the time. It's the same thing with playing a character for 14 hours a day for months. Without thinking about it, you naturally just start to.
Well, the neat thing is there's a source material. There's a book on which this film is based. Enzo Ferrari, The Man, the Cars, the Races, the Machine by Brock Yates. I imagine you devour that book, correct?
Yeah. Piero Ferrari, who's in the movie as a kid, opened the doors literally to Enzo's house, and Enzo, you know, he was in his office and opened up a briefcase that he hadn't even seen. So we're watching him open his father's briefcase and going through all of his stuff.
How do you keep from wanting to, you know, not want to dive into it yourself, right? I mean,
he showed all the ties, all of everything that he wore. The barber shop that's in the movie is the actual barber shop where he got his hair cut. The guy who's cutting his hair is the grandson of the guy who actually cut his hair. Wow. The crash at the end of the movie is where the crash is.
That is.
Yeah. Without giving it too much.
I know, because it was. Yeah. It's a jarring finish, straight up, and the way it builds and the way that everything's going, and the film again is about Ferrari's life, and at this very specific moment in time. So, and there are some thrilling race moments, but this is really a story about Enzo Ferrari, who he is, his family life, how it made him who he was, and what happened at this very important moment in the mid-50s in his life.
It's a very character-driven film. If people are expecting it to be just nonstop racing with a very weak, you know, plot, it's not that. It's very much about him at the death rate, I think, of his drivers in the late 50s, like 55 to 57, something like 50%. And his business, also the racing world was changing. It was suddenly television was coming in, and how his business was going under because he was more interested in racing than he was selling commercial vehicles. And then personally, his wife, you know, they had lost a son, and their relationship was very business oriented, and he had a son with another woman named Lena Lardi, and
that's Piero.
And that's Piero. And he was, you know, do I take the name Lardi or Ferrari? So, but then Michael's key into that is someone who's a racer, who is calm on the surface but kind of furiously paddling underneath, and has to stay, you know, at least project an image of control, you know, as racers do. Are aware of everything around them, and in a way to become, you know, hyper-focused.
So Adam Driver here on the Rich Eisen Show, again, Ferrari in theaters nationwide on Christmas Day. Knowing Ferrari, obviously, as well as you must, what do you think Enzo Ferrari would think of what Formula One looks like right now? What do you think he would say about that?
Yeah, I'm not so keyed into what Formula One is now.
Well, it's as
commercial,
huge as it gets right now.
Right,
I mean, it is an international sport that is on par with everything else right now that everybody wants to see and watch.
Right,
Certainly now, even in America right now.
Right.
So I guess, what would he think, I guess, of something that is so significant in the racing world when he was involved in a race that went so poorly for him, I guess.
Right. Well, I guess, you would ask Enzo what his favorite car was, and he would always be it'd always be the next one was the answer. And you go to the factory, because I went to the Ferrari factory, and
Yes.
you watch them make these cars,
Yes.
and I was expecting it to be like a, I don't know, it's just one guy's job is to pull some heavy thing down, and like steam comes out, and it's, but it looks like a science lab. They're people in white coats, just
immaculate. That's what you're saying.
going over a small detail, for. It feels like you were walking into, like a science lab. It doesn't feel like any greasy or, messy. It's very clinical.
There's nobody going underneath the car right now to check on the carburetor or anything.
No. It's,
I love that.
a bunch of people in lab coats.
So then what'd you learn about him? What'd you learn about him when it's all said and done, about Enzo Ferrari, Adam?
Kind of. And there's, a lot of people had their own versions of who he was, but I really like the idea that he was very aware of his image and played up to it. And he kind of embodies something that I aspire to in life. I feel like when things are bad for me, I kind of let everybody around me know it.
Yes.
But he was very contained and calm under pressure. And this is all pre-psychology, so he's not also self-analytical. He is instinctual and all about moving forward and doesn't second-guess impulses.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.